It's Hump Day, December 3rd, as we continue our path through the end of this calendar year, which gets us to the height of a lot of really cool shit in the sports calendar year. But damn, even saying it for the second night in a row, how the hell did we get to December? I have no idea, but we're going to take you through it from a sports standpoint the best we can here. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Make sure and double check, triple check that you're subscribed, that you're following, whatever the case may be. As I've told you guys over the last couple of weeks, we have bumped into a lot of people, all three of us have, that have been like, yeah, I'm following the show. And then when you try and make sure they are and you see they're not, it's really easy to do. Just make sure that subscribed, follow, whatever, depending on how you're watching us, whatever it tells you to do, just do it and tell them we told you so. It doesn't cost you anything. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along tonight, because there is a lot of stuff going on, and for what on the surface looks like championship week in college football that really means nothing, it actually means a lot. It just doesn't mean a lot in the way we want it to mean a lot, which is straightforward and easy to understand, kind of like the PGA Tour playoffs every year. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of that. Of course, in the middle, the man in the middle, standing at 5 foot 10 inches tall from the University of somewhere in the Northeast, Vegas Mac. What is going on?
Oh man! I was going to make it more dramatic. We had snow today. How about that? We had a little bit of snow out there, so kind of makes it feel like winter. You know, it was kind of nice. It cold.
That works.
It was cold.
Definitely had your moment of mistimed pyro on the intro there. I could see how you were setting up the dramatic, and then you Brock Lesnar'd on the stage. That works.
Yeah.
And then at the combo guard position from the University of Nevada at Reno, Wolf Pack, as opposed to Wolf Pack, one word, two words, you figured out. The man, the myth, the legend, Tony James. What is going on, TJ, on this fine hump day on your early December?
I came here to get my UConn soccer update. I hope it's short and sweet.
You know what's funny in my position on this show, boys and girls? I can do this. Anytime somebody does something like that, Tony has disappeared. Isn't that funny how that works? We'll bring him back here just for shits and giggles, but feel free to comment along if you're watching along. You know, I would love to sit here, as would my two co-hosts, in this form and talk to you for hours on end, which is something we could absolutely do tonight with everything that's going on. Mac and I got a chance to dip our toes in this water, so I'm going to go to T because he wasn't here last night. TJ, how was your extended Thanksgiving weekend? And are you also done with college football, as Mac said he was, at least temporarily last night because of all shenanigans on tarmacs and everywhere else?
My extended Thanksgiving weekend was great. Thank you for asking, until I got rinsed on some stupid bets. But I did. And I want to say this loud for the idiots in the back. I am 20-9 on After Dark, you dopes. Watch the entire video. 3-0 last week.
Yes.
3-0.
Yes, he is.
Knucklehead.
You know what's funny is we were talking about this in our group chat over the weekend, and you know it's funny. You know we've tried. Adam checking in already. Yeah, he did. Appreciate you checking in, Adam. You know we talked about this, and it's funny because I'm getting just absolutely. I'm trying to think of a culturally appropriate reference for this, but I can't. I'm basically getting bent over, no lube, and it's not time for the prostate check when it comes to Monday Night Football, as case in point from this past Monday. I'm getting drilled on Mondays. Thursdays, it's been a kind of a fun game to try and get back to even. The three of us, between the Big Mac Kickoff, the Saturday, and After Dark, have done fantastic this year. If you take that out and you watch the rest of the videos, this is why we try and tell you we are not handicappers. We are recreational bettors like the rest of you. We give you our reasons why we're going to bet what we bet, and sometimes we get them right. Sometimes we get them wrong. If it's Monday night, 3/4 of the time I'm going to get it wrong, but we put them out there for you because we're all a part of this. It is a show for the people, by the people, and about the people, as I've told you a million times. So let's get right into it, and let's jump into some headlines. Speaking of around the league, and Mac, you and I were talking about this before we got on the air here, and it's just kind of funny how this stuff always works. So according to Shams Charania today, the Bucks and Giannis are back in the let's talk about the future conversation, and a decision is expected to be made within the next couple of weeks. And that doesn't mean he's going to get traded or he's staying. It just means they're talking about, hey, where are we at? Let's revisit this. Ironically, while we were having that conversation, Mac, before the show starts tonight, we get an ESPN update that Giannis has some sort of calf issue that they're monitoring. So maybe as the smoke pops up from the Fiserv forum or wherever else above my head, maybe Giannis gets moved during the season. But here we are again with the Bucks talking about the Giannis situation during the damn season.
Oh, goodness. Now we have to start this with the NBA and all these guys. I mean, it's
Oh no,
convenient.
I'm gonna hold on. Just so T knows this, I am going to stick the proverbial quarter in Mac tonight and let him run T's line at a certain spot. You may continue now. I apologize for interrupting you.
No, that's fine. I'll consider this my warm up. Oh, by the way, T, they lost 3-0 to Maryland, so there's your update. I know. Hey, good season anyway. But yeah, a convenient injury. I mean, we kind of see this every once in a while. I mean, LeBron plays a couple of games, and then he needs the rest and everything else, and I mean, why do you do this in the middle of the season? I mean, I should say the middle during the season. If you were going to trade this guy, you had a chance to do so in the offseason because that's all we heard that you were going to do it. Then trade this guy in the offseason. Don't get started in the season, then all of a sudden decide you're going to make this blockbuster. Let's just be honest. In the NBA, you're not going to have a blockbuster trade like this during the season. It's just money wise. I think it's too much to handle. I just don't see it happening. So, take your time off and enjoy it. I mean, apparently, again, it goes to how. I mean, I thought Giannis was a kind of a good guy. I think he probably still is, but. I don't know. This is what the second or third year in a row that we've heard rumblings that he doesn't want to be there. Listen, if you don't want to be there, beat Lane Kiffin. Get on a plane and get out.
Do you see my rundown? Because I don't give you guys my rundown because I've got to push all the buttons and there's a lot of extra stuff on there that says, don't forget about this, make sure we do this here, all that stuff. Ironically, the athletic director at Ole Miss, Keith Carter, is now disputing Lane Kiffin's version of his exit from Ole Miss. The coaching carousel took a wild and crash down spin in the SEC on Sunday as we saw Golish, we saw Summerall, we saw Kiffin, we saw Silverfield, obviously finally most blatant thing in the world. Then Kentucky, already been filled by Will Stein. The coaching carousel stopped. Nobody's told Penn State that it started yet, but as the carousel stopped this weekend, T, what did you make of all the coaching circusry, if you will, for making up words on Wednesday?
Man, all the things that we used to like about college sports and how fun it was and how devoted the athletes were, and it's always about the name on the front and not the name on the back, and that's all horse shit. It's so disingenuous. These guys, all of them, have proved that it's all about them being hired mercenaries for whatever period of time it is until they can find the better deal. Nobody gives a crap about anything. That's why you see these players transfer out after a year. And you know what? Go for it. If the coaches are going to do it, the players might as well do it too. It's such a farcical system that we are running in right now that There's zero loyalty, and you want me to be loyal and donate to NIL funds? Are you freaking kidding me? No, go freaking cram it up your cram hole. I ain't doing any of that stuff. And here's what we're gonna find, and it's already started. College football is gonna become a sport for the rich people. We've already seen it. If I have to pay $150 to go watch 3-9 UCLA play, $150? Are you kidding me? Go F yourself, San Diego. This is college sports. I think I sent it to you both. College sports are irreparably broken right now, and they're not going to come back. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that basically echoes last night what you said exactly, Mac. And it's this Ole Miss thing. There's so many different angles to this. Those of you that enjoy spending your time on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days, you know about the lore and the legend of Juice Kiffin, the dog, Juice Kiffin. And in this, we've all found out that Juice Kiffin is actually not Lane Kiffin's dog. It is kind of Ole Miss's dog with a handler, and Juice Kiffin was not on the plane. So you've seen the funny memes of Juice Kiffin sitting there, the plane going away, this, that, and the other thing. I said it last night, and I'll say it again. And I got a couple of interesting text messages today from people that watched last night's show when I said, listen, I have zero problem with what Lane Kiffin did. I don't blame Lane Kiffin for any of this. I am in the minority there because Lane Kiffin's a horrible person, depending on who you talk to today, because he didn't go to your school. Yeah, I know. I'm dealing with that with Florida fan contingents. I've already explained this to you, Florida fan. You need to do two things. Number one, you need to realize, as we mentioned last night, that Florida and Penn State are not who they think they are. Number two, if Florida fans will get past the fact that their athletic director is an idiot and get behind John Summerall, I think you'll realize that John Summerall, and remember this, I said this, Mac, in a video not even 2 full weeks ago. If you're LSU, the guy you really want is John Summerall. And everybody be like, well, why did you want Lane Kiffin for Florida? Lane Kiffin to Florida has been a thing for a long damn time. And I will tell you this as a Florida fan, the last chance Florida had to get Lane Kiffin, they just missed. That is on their athletic director's fault and everybody else in the process. This is a college football problem. So I will throw this across the table. And then I do have one more NBA headline, and then we'll get into the rest of the program today. Mac, I'll start with you here. Joey McGuire of Texas Tech says everything needs to be moved forward. So the portal, and everybody needs to understand this and remember this too. The college coaches were the ones that asked for the changes of dates in what we have now as far as the college football calendar goes. That being said, Joey McGuire says we move everything up and we leave the dates where they are so the season finishes, then the portal opens, then we move on to a new year. That is one school of thought. Number two is you push the date back and you push signing day back to adjust the calendar. Mac, I'll start with you. Do we move everything up, finish, and then go? Or do we move everything back, finish, and go? Or is neither one the right option?
I don't care for forward or back or sideways or whatnot. Here, I just think let's just make it the way that it is. Play the season. When the season is over, you start the next season. Why is that so difficult? When the national championship game is over, the season is over for everybody. Not just, when you say that, you can see, 95-8% of the teams are done for the most part. So yeah, they, Southeast, University of whatnot, North, Southeast, and West, they want to go and recruit and get into the portal because they've been done now for a month and a half. So I get it. But listen, when the final game is played, that next day, the new season starts. It's that simple. That's when you can open up the transfer portal. That's when you can have, a week later have national signing day. Why does this have to be so complicated? Let the season finish, start the next season. I mean, it seems, I don't know,
Hey,
T. It seems easy to me, right?
It's complicated because that's how they want it to be. They want this to be a horse crap system. I'm convinced, dude. I'm absolutely convinced now that people responsible for this want this type of nonsense. I mean, look at Mac. You're bang on, right? Look at every other sports season. Like, you don't see NHL free agents starting to sign during the Cup final. That's ridiculous. They sign after everybody is done, and they start on July 1st every year. You're right, Mac. This is not a difficult solution. Make it that you want to open the transfer portal? Great. Open it at 11:59 p.m. after the national championship game is over. Done. Everything's done. New Year's Day, and have a nice day, right? You're right. This shouldn't be complicated, but it is, because the people who are making the decisions now hate college football. I'm convinced they hate college football.
yeah, and it's fair. And guys, we'll get a little more into this here in a second, because we'll talk about what's at stake this weekend and what's not at stake. One more headline I wanted to pass across. I thought this was a little interesting today, and I'm not going to lie when I present this headline to you. I am thoroughly enjoying the Clippers' aspirations, if you will, of acquiring a championship for the Los Angeles Clippers. What I'm also enjoying is watching this thing absolutely implode in front of us, because Ty Lue and Chris Paul apparently were not on the same page, according to sources, as of today's news, because as we found out, rando news dump at the wee hours of the morning that Chris Paul is no longer a member of the LA Clippers in what was supposed to be his retirement season in the NBA. This Clippers thing, I think, is going to get way worse before it gets better. And much like the NCAA, and we make fun of their process in evaluating things and determining things, the NBA is digging to the bottom, there's another plant reference for you, to the bottom of the aspiration Clippers deal, and figuring out if Kawhi and the Clippers circumvented the salary cap and all this shit. And then they do, and I don't think Chris Paul is deserving of the no doubter Hall of Fame accolades that he's given. Unpopular opinion, shoot the messenger, go ahead. But at the same time, Chris Paul has been one of the better point guards in the history of the NBA. I will give him that. I will absolutely. And I'm not going to define Chris Paul at the end of his basketball career by rings. But this seems like a damn dirty way to do a guy that's been in the league for a long time, signed with you because over the last couple years while he was trying to extend his career, he was away from his kids and his family like he didn't want to be, but wanted to keep playing. He went back to LA where he is a franchise icon, and you do him dirty like this today? And now, is this the last we've seen of Chris Paul? I think is a horrible way to send him out. This time I'll flip the order. We'll go TJ to Mac. Chris Paul, not a Clipper. Does he play again? And what the hell are the Clippers actually doing? Do they even know?
I would bet you dollars for donuts he's a Laker by next week. I would bet you dollars for donuts. Remember, he was supposed to be a Laker, and that all got blown up because of some sort of competitive balance thing that they conveniently ignored later on. No, this brought to mind what the Raiders did to Derek Carr, man. They totally did him dirty. Chris Paul has been he was a great Clipper. He left it all out there on the floor, but I mean, it is what it is. Most bathrooms in an arena in the NBA. I mean, Intuit Dome right there. I don't know, man, but I bet he's a Laker by the end of next week.
Mac, Chris Paul, the Clippers. What the hell?
It's funny. We always talk. We talk about this every once in a while. There's organizations that can never get it right. And if there is a poster child for that statement.
I was literally just gonna say poster child.
It's got to be the LA Clippers. I mean, they can just never get it right. New stadium, new players, old players. It's the same old Clippers year after year after year. It's like I don't I mean literally need to. I don't know. That whole franchise is just a total wreck. Let's just go on there.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam, a lot of people have tossed out the same damn thing, and a lot of people think Chris Paul should be in the Suns' Ring of Honor. I don't think, from what we know, I think TJ has probably knocked it out of the park there. If Chris Paul is going to play, which I think he wants to, and I think he still has value to a team, there's a scenario where he makes a lot of sense in Dallas. But I think Chris Paul very much, like he said, he wanted to stay close to his kids. They were with him on a couple of these trips over the last couple of years. They haven't been. That makes a difference. I think it's a Lakers or nothing if he does play. It is Wednesday, so that means it is time for us to puck around and find out a little bit. And we've got some interesting things going on in the NHL here, and we find out today that Tyler Seguin from the Stars, Seguin. I know you heard me botching it on the way out of my mouth, and I couldn't stop it there. Likely out for the season with the torn ACL. Kyle Palmieri, we saw, is out for the season with the torn ACL. And T, I'll start with you here because you dropped it out on our channels here just a few hours ago. And it also pertains to Mac's team specifically, but early on in the season here, as we are at the third poll, if you will, take your jokes wherever you want to on that one, we're seeing some really good goaltending from a couple of teams, and all the talk right now is about the Avalanche because they're flat kicking everybody's teeth down their throat right now. Minnesota and Carolina are getting some good goaltending play. Take it and run with it, TJ.
Oh yeah, Minnesota has found. I mean, they drafted Jesper Wallstedt in 2021, incidentally, in a pick acquired from the Edmonton Oilers. And this guy has done nothing but pitch shutouts and just he's seeing the puck so well. And this is so good for Minnesota because this is a team that spent a grip of money in the offseason holding on to their superstars. And now it's time that they have to make runs in the playoffs. Getting into the first round and getting knocked out ain't going to cut it anymore. So I'm hopeful that this keeps up for him because if this works out, he's 23 years old. Yeah, the league is probably going to figure him out for a couple of weeks very, very soon. And the guy won't be able to stop anything. But if this guy can develop how a goaltender should develop, and sometimes it's 24, 25 years old before they're fully mature as a goaltender, man, this could be a great thing for Minnesota. And Carolina is just they're unreal. Their puck possession is flat out ridiculous. They literally hold on to the puck the entire game. I mean, it's unreal what they do. Guy that I did not mention just because I didn't have time is Logan Thompson of Washington. I mean, Carolina and Washington are right atop the Metro, and Logan Thompson is doing it for them. The Caps are here on Friday night, and I'm not going to lie, dude. I'm looking and seeing how much it's going to cost me to get in because this Capitals team is pretty good.
Well, and I think the other part of it too, T, is not only that, but you get a chance to likely see Ovi in his final year. I mean, that's a go-to without a doubt. And Mac, as T mentioned, your Hurricanes, and they're doing a lot of the Hurricanes things, and this will probably get some people kind of riled up as far as the Hurricanes go because we've seen them on the doorstep God knows how many times now. We've seen Florida start the year with their injuries. We know they're going to be a factor here. But this Carolina team, the more and more I watch them, they're starting to look like a team that might be ready at least early as we are 25, 26, 27 games into the season as a team that might actually be able to push through, which is a big deal for you Hurricane folk in the middle.
Yeah, And their goalie, it's not a tandem. It's three guys. It's Anderson, Kochekov, and this young guy Brandon Bussey. He's been absolutely amazing so far this year. So they're doing it with three different goalies. They're mixing and matching, which I think is pretty good. For me, I wouldn't call him the MVP of the team, but a guy who I absolutely love, and I loved him when he played with the Coyotes, is Shane Gostisbehere, and he's just having an absolute freaking amazing season. He does great on the power play. He's just a rock solid defender. And T, you talk about how that used to be the strength of the Coyotes. Well, he was part of that. I just love watching Ghost play. I mean, he's just, to me, I know he's not from a point perspective, but really from watching them play, and I feel he's their MVP.
Well, I mean, you talk about Ghosts. I'm a little concerned about the special teams for Carolina because their power play is 30th. It's god awful. But
it is.
I mean, when you own the puck the whole bloody time, does it really matter? I want you to think about all the players whose careers were literally resurrected in the desert. You have Darcy Kemper, won a Stanley Cup. You got Shane Gostisbehere, who was picked up. The Flyers literally paid the Coyotes to take Gostisbehere. And he's parlayed that into a multi-year deal in Carolina. You got Nick Bukestad, who's played, I think he's with St. Louis right now. I mean, you literally have players that were picked up off the scrap heap to go and have their careers. And Scott Wedgwood leads the league in wins. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, the list is long. So
I was going to say, there's another one on Carolina as well, and I loved him when he was at the Coyotes. It's Jordan Martinook.
Yep,
he was another one. I mean, he's just a scrappy guy. So yeah, you're right. The Hurricanes power play, it's really hard. You watch it; they possess the puck even so well on their power play. They get good shots. They just bring a post all the time. They just have not really. And Nikolai Ehlers, I think he's got to lead the league in hitting the post and crossbar this year. He just has. He's just snake man. I don't think. I mean, they're as bad as they are. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I think they'll be better. But like we said in the preview, the one thing about Carolina is they have money to spend as well, and they have the market with the draft picks is too. So it's going to be interesting to see if. And when they look to where they would look to fill in as we get going in this season.
Yeah, and when we look at this, guys, we've got some big matchups. TJ already mentioned the Capitals at the Ducks. That's tomorrow or Friday night. Devils and Bruins on Saturday. Jets and Oilers on Saturday as well. And this is where we'll finish this for now. T and I will probably have a couple more puck thoughts tomorrow on Lunchtime Live, but Jets and Oilers on Saturday. These are two teams that need to get some shit figured out and get it figured out real quick, and they're starting to run out of the proverbial runway that they have into this year. Mm-hmm. We've talked a lot about the Oilers, so let's just to finish this up, and we'll go around so everybody can get their 2 cents in on this. The Jets, same thing for me, and I don't know, and I've watched... And obviously we've talked about my hockey watching this year as opposed to I watch a lot of everything, but the hockey specifically this year, because if you look at the Western Conference wildcard race, the team that's number one in the Western Conference wildcard race is your Fighting San Jose Sharks. They won't stay there, but this Jets team is also like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Right now as we speak, 1-0 in the middle of the second period against Montreal, but like, T, I can't quite, and again, we'll go T to Mac here and we'll finish up hockey and go into college football, but I can't quite put my thumb on what exactly is wrong with this Jets team, but they don't look anywhere close as well. And another team that you talked about just a few hours ago on our social channels at Mike Arana Show.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mike, they can't score right now, and it's killing them. They've been outscored 22-7 in their last 5 games. Connor Hellebuck he's got a knee injury. He's probably out till January. And when you can't score and then your backups can't stop the puck, you got huge issues there. If they can find a way to get the offense going, that's gonna a really good offense hides a lot of defensive deficiencies. And so this is a team that needs to be scoring 4 and 5 goals a game just to make sure that they take the pressure off the goalies. But this team is not defending well at all either. So it's like the whole 9 yards for Winnipeg. I'm kind of hoping they had that team meeting at the Anchor Bar and they all just got obliterated after that Sabres game because back in the day, that's what teams needed to do. You lose 6-1 on the road, you just go to the nearest watering hole, you close it down, you pay $5,000, you drink as many beers as you can, you get tuna sandwich and pea soup the next day, and then you go on your way and you win 7 out of 10. That's what the Jets, I hope they did that on Monday because, man, they are in a bad place right now.
I got to see Winnipeg over the last couple of weeks because they played.
Mac,
yeah.
Pea soup and tuna, you follow that. Go for it. Your final word on hockey here from Vegas, Mac.
I was going to say, I watched Winnipeg a couple of times the last few weeks because they were playing Carolina. And in both those games, I mean, Stahl scored in Winnipeg within the first minute of the game and just got Winnipeg behind. And the same thing. It's just like, from an offensive standpoint, T hit around and said, this Winnipeg team is just, they're struggling putting the puck in the net. And like you said, when you have a backup goalie going in there, that you need guys to score, and they just haven't. And like you said, defensively they didn't look good as goal. The Hurricanes went in after playing just a couple of the night before, and they put a 5 spot on them. I'm like, that can't happen. Winnipeg had rest. And Carolina just went in there and just took it to them. Again, it's funny. You look at the playoff standings, and I was, you kind of look at how far behind they are, and then it's like, oh my God, they're like 20 points behind, Colorado already. It's like, good golly. Like, I know that's the top, but it's starting to stretch out a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely is. And again, we'll have more on this as we go forward. Probably a little bit more tomorrow on Lunchtime Live. Guys, college football championship weekend. We get it going on Friday night. The first game, 4 o'clock, I should say, on the West Coast. Troy and James Madison in the Sun Belt Championship. Conference USA Championship, same time, Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. Then at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, I'm reading Arizona times. You can figure it out on your own. North Texas and Tulane in the American, Boise State and UNLV in the Mountain West. And as we know, going into this weekend, there's still a decent amount to play for, some positioning to play for some of the top teams, and then that whole padding conundrum of Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, BYU at the bottom here. So instead of going game by game, I figured tonight let's do something different and let's change it up. And when we look at the conference title games, I think we've got 3 different ones that we're all kind of excited to see, and they're not going to be the ones that you particularly would think to see, but they'll lead to some good conversations here. T, I'll let you start. Give me the title game that you're most looking forward to this weekend and why, and then we'll tell you what we think of said title game. Go ahead, TJ.
Well, it's the best conference that nobody's been watching all year. It's the Big 12, and I got in BYU and Texas Tech. This is the game that everybody who's been watching the Big 12 has wanted to see all year. They want to see the first game was kind of a one-off for BYU. They looked horrible. This is a chance for a little bit of redemption. It's at a quote unquote neutral site. But this BYU team is on the revenge tour this weekend, and I would not be shocked at all if they come out of this with a win.
No, I don't think anybody'd be shocked either in that case, and I'm interested to see that game, Mac, because and I used the line last night from our guy Josh Pate, the first time that Texas Tech. TTU is how I was getting ready to say that. How lame can you be? Texas Tech and BYU played the first time, Mac, and I think there's no better way to say this than the way Josh Pate said it, is Texas Tech took BYU and they stuffed them in a phone booth, and they just dominated that game from start to finish. I think we see a way better effort from BYU. I think there's some rallying from the BYU kids, especially with Penn State's lame attempt to poach Kalani Sitake, which got Sitake an extension there. Mac, I really think BYU is going to bring everything to the table and more from what we've seen over the last 2 years, because I think the one thing, and I've mentioned this a couple times, Mac, the one thing I think people are forgetting about BYU and what their motivations might be to play Texas Tech this weekend is BYU had a damn good year last year, and they were left watching, and they remember that. And a lot of these guys, with the exception of primarily Bear Bachmeier, LJ Martin, Isaiah Glasker, Kingston, all these guys had to sit and watch the playoffs last year. I think we get a hell of an effort from BYU this weekend.
I 100% agree. I think they're going to have a big effort. I don't know that it's going to be enough. This Texas Tech defense, I don't think it's talked about enough. This is an elite defense. Their front four is elite. That's why BYU had such a hard time in the first game. Texas Tech's defense is what dictated what they could or could not do in that situation. So I think that's the matchup you have to watch in this game. Can BYU win the line of scrimmage on offense against that Texas Tech front? If they can, then this becomes a different game, but nobody has been able to do that yet. And so we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I am surprised that the spread, the last I saw was like 13.5. To me, that seems, that's a big spread for me. I think these teams are a lot closer than that.
Yeah, I and Mac, we'll save your pick because you've got it on the Big Mac kickoff tomorrow night. But T, I'm going to take BYU, and I'm going to take them on the money line. I've backed this team. I've believed in this team all year. I think the point spread is a little recency bias. It was November 8th, if I remember exactly when they played the last time. It was the beginning of November. I think BYU comes to the table with an all-out, like, this is a win or go home game, because it is, if they lose, I still think they should be in. That's not going to happen, but I think this BYU team brings it, and I'll take them to win in Jerry's World, in Dallas, which is not a long road trip for Texas Tech. I love this Texas Tech team, but I think BYU, that sour taste of watching the playoffs last year, in addition to the Sitake thing from this week, I think BYU ends up winning this game. And I want them to, because I really want to see what happens with the rankings on Sunday morning if they do. Make a pick on the game. I got the Cougars on the money line.
Give me all the chaos. I'm taking BYU with the points in this one. I've got to give it to a team whose quarterback wears number 47.
Absolutely. Mac, why don't you go with your conference title game of the 8th, I believe it is, that we'll see. Which one is the one that's got your excitement level on fleek, as the kids would say?
Well, man, you make it, now that you say that, I went with the Mountain West game, UNLV and Boise. This is the third year in a row that they're doing this, and of course, thank you to whichever computer program the Mountain West uses for giving us this championship game, because that's what it came down to, I guess. But I mean, this is always a lot of fun. I mean, these two teams. I mean, is it really it's that whole thing. Is it really a rivalry when one team is dominated as much as Boise State has dominated UNLV? Or is, like I said, this is three times a charm. Is it three times a charm because Boise's going to win? Or is it the third time a charm? Finally UNLV is going to break through and find a way. I just, to me, playing this game at Boise, I think that's a huge advantage, of course, for the Broncos in there. But listen, UNLV, as their coach said, we got 10 wins. We deserve to be there. I don't know how you put that in as information on the computer, but I think this will be a fun game. I don't think there'll be a lot of points scored in this game because it's going to be probably darn cold and snowing because that's what it always does at Boise this time of year. But I think this is just a fun game to kick off our Friday night. This is good. This is going to be I think all the games on Friday are actually have their own little niche to them. But this definitely, like I said, since it's the third one, it's like Rocky 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Let's see what happens next.
Is this the part of the show where I get to fly my flag for New Mexico because they got royally screwed here? I mean, New Mexico beat Vegas. They beat San Diego State. They lost to Boise State, and they got jobbed, straight up jobbed out of this game. And instead, the Mountain West relies on a computer to put in a team who's not even going to be in the conference next year. Give me a bloody break. This was New Mexico's game, and everybody knows it.
Listen, they need to send a better person to play the PlayStation. That's how I heard that they figured it out. They all sent a PlayStation representative and they played it out, and that was how they figured it out.
And those New Mexico unis on Saturday were absolutely unbelievable.
They were good.
Okay, get this damn train back on the tracks. Mac, make a pick, and be careful, Mac, when you make this pick, because you might end up sleeping on the couch.
I 100% agree. I'm right there. Broncos going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean,
happy wife, happy life. T.
Regardless of what happened, this is what we've got, and Boise had the unbelievable year last year. This year, not so good. But this is still a dang good football team, and they're playing at home, and it is going to snow. Give me Boise.
I'm taking UNLV. You know why? Because Dan Mullen says the damn computers should be smart enough to realize the only 10-win team in the conference belongs there. And it would be, Boise's at home. They're 4.5-point favorites. I actually played the game over already, despite the location, which I think is stupid because who in the hell wants to watch a conference title game in Boise? After next year, you don't have to worry about it. I think this UNLV team is actually pretty good, and as much as I don't always like to see Dan Mullen succeed, I'm going to take UNLV on the money line in this one as a parting gift and as a don't let the door hit you on the way out to Boise State here. My game that I'm most excited to see is probably the game that most people are going, well, it has absolutely nothing to do with anything. Au contraire, mon frere. I tell you that the Big Ten title game is a game you absolutely want to watch, and here's why. I believe that neither one of these teams should fall out of a top 4 in a bye, regardless of the outcome of this game. What I am concerned about is that Indiana, if they don't win this game, is possibly looking at that scenario, and I don't think that that's right. I think that BYU's body of work and Indiana's body of work tells me that BYU should be in regardless, and that Indiana should be no less than 4 even if they lose this game. That being said, I also think this conference title means a hell of a lot more to Indiana than it does to Ohio State. And I'm interested to see what the committee thinks of Ohio State if they lose. So, again, I'm going to go for a chaos scenario here. And I like Indiana to win this game. And I want that because I think it would mean a hell of a lot to Indiana. Ohio State, they flick their nose at Big Ten titles because it's just not what they play for. Indiana on the come up. I love Kirk Cignetti. He is always 1,000% honest and accurate, no matter if you like the way he delivers the message or not. Google me, I win. I want to see Indiana get this done. I also want to see Indiana get this done because I think depending on who is left out and who is left in, if Ohio State were to lose, tells us a long story about what this committee actually is looking at here. I'm really excited to see the Big Ten title game. Also, because the other game that's going on at the exact same time, I don't know if it was the last sporting event on the history of Earth if I would want to watch the ACC title game, which is going on at the same time between Duke and Virginia. So I've got a lot of reasons, Mac, I'll start with you, to watch the Big Ten title game, despite it might not mean really anything in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, you've got let's be honest, the two best football teams in college football going after it. I mean, why wouldn't you want to watch? I mean, that's what it should be kind of promoted as. Listen, you know, we've got the two best teams not only in the conference but maybe in all of college football going after it. So I do 100% agree with you that I don't think the loser of this game should be out of the top four. I think both of them deserve to be there. I'm very excited. I think Ohio State showed me a lot last week in that game against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
That it does matter. And that was one of the things I said. Does Ohio State care? We know Michigan cares about that game. And, does Ohio State really care? Or is it just, gosh, here's another week until, we get to the college football playoffs. But they showed out last week, and that showed me a lot. So I think because of that, I'm leaning towards the Buckeyes this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this game is Indiana's offense is freaking unreal. I mean, except for the hiccup at Iowa, they just light up the scoreboard, which is fantastic. I love seeing that as a college football fan. And Ohio State's defense is just so bloody good. They pretty much don't allow you to run up the scoreboard on them. So this is going to be interesting in that way. I'm looking forward to this game because it is kind of at a neutral site, maybe. But it is the best two teams in some people's opinion. I think some SEC people have some other opinions. But look, these teams they've been 1-2 the entire year. Let's settle it on the field. And what would have been a really cool idea is and I think this happened like once upon a time, like if the top two teams in the NCAA college football actually like played each other for a national title, right? Instead of a conference title. I think that was a novel concept that we had a long time ago.
Quit talking logic when it comes to college football. What's wrong with you? That's the After Dark game on Saturday night, too. Yep, it is. That's the After Dark game on Saturday night. Now, in this next spot, before we look at the NFL spotlight and get up on out of here for the show here, we were going to try and predict the field in 1 to 12 order. And, T, the way you went about it in how you would determine the field here, I think is something that Mac and I should just listen to, and then we'll drop in if we agree. So don't go to well, I mean, it'll be part of it, but lay out how you think it should go, starting with number 1 on our outline layout here. Mac and I will listen to how you think the field should be seated, and I'll let Mac go first when you're done, when you permit him to speak here on it, and then I will follow. TJ is laying out exactly how this field should be seated. The floor is yours, T.
Oh, I think the top four should be the number 1 should be the winner of the Big Ten title game. The number 2 should be the SEC title game winner. The number 3 should be the Big 12 winner, and the number 4 should be whoever loses in the Big Ten title game. Those are the 4. They're the 4 best. They're in the 3 best conferences. I don't care what you say with the Transcontinental ACC conference. Those are the 3 best conferences. The 3 winners of the conference championship games should be 1, 2, 3. Period. End of story.
All right, Mac, I think I agree with that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that at all. And the thing is, the only thing, people will get upset about, well, why does the Big Ten or the SEC loser get 4 or 5 on any given year? Let's look at it from this year's standpoint. The Big Ten's better. Again, they're better.
Well, they have 19 teams, so they should be better.
Yeah. Go from this point forward, 5 down. We'll let you go 5 to 12 here, and then we'll react to it because this is where it gets interesting.
So 5, I've got the SEC loser, the SEC title game loser. Then 6 is Oregon, 7 is Texas A&M, 8's Mississippi, 9 is the Big 12 loser, 10 is Notre Dame, 11 is the winner of the ACC, and the 12th should be Vanderbilt, but it's going to be some crappy team that gets blitzed in the first round by the SEC loser.
Mac, your thoughts on that first?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I agree, especially the last part about the sacrificial lamb. I mean, you know what? Maybe we should have a play-in game. Maybe there should be like the NCAA tournament. Let's have a play-in game. The group of 5 against somebody else we think that should be there. We got an extra week. Let's throw it in there. Let's have a play-in game. How about that? Maybe that'll make people happy.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. But I think the way T has it, I'm good with. And if it ends up that way, I'm good with for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
Number one, your 9 is the Big 12 loser. 10 would be Notre Dame. 11 would be the ACC winner. If we're going to call them a Power 4, I still think their conference winner, whether it's Duke or Virginia, belongs there. 12, group of 5 sacrificial lamb is exactly how T wrote it, but it should be Vanderbilt. I also do agree with that. I think, for me, if I'm going to rank the top 3, and this is where we'll end this, if we're going to mark the top 3 teams of first 3 out, to me, when I look at it, I go Texas, Miami, and Vanderbilt is how I would go the top 3 teams out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that want Miami are going to disagree with that. I think Notre Dame scheduled 2 tough teams right out of the gate. They lost one of them barely at home. The other one in the first week on the road, they barely lost also, and they've steamrolled everybody. And you go, well, they haven't played anybody. They should be in a conference. Well, newsflash, people, that's not happening anytime soon. Notre Dame, we talked about this last night specifically, Mac. You mentioned Oregon being one of the most consistent teams in the country outside of the obvious ones. Notre Dame has also been that, and you can say what they want about the schedule and everything else. Outside of the Boston College game, they've kicked the living shit out of everybody they've played.
Yep.
I'm totally good with that. Mac, your thoughts, TJ, final word, and then we've got to blast through some NFL stuff real fast.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't know why UConn's not being considered. They have as many wins almost as Notre Dame, and they're the independent. So, I mean, I think UConn should get some.
They don't have a coach. That's why. They don't have a coach. They're done. He's at Colorado State.
Bring back Randy.
All right. You got me on that one. But we'll wait. We'll come up with a coach. It can't be that hard, can it? I mean,
Dan Orlovsky.
Oh, gosh.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. 100%.
Kevin Ollie, he's the answer to every UConn question.
Right, exactly.
You finish this up.
I'll just say that the reason why I picked this the way it is because then there's still some sort of value in the conference championship game. In a year where they don't seem to be very valuable, if the top 4 ended like this, I don't think anybody would complain that there wasn't any value of it and any value to getting to the conference championship game. And 2, losing the conference championship game. I think this is okay, except for James Madison.
I think it's fair. All right, let's go to the NFL here. We're going to move through these games very quickly because I think more of what the nuts and bolts of this is for the conversation. Which teams need, out of the 2 primetime games that finish this week, which teams need it the most? So there's a lot of big games, and it starts tomorrow night, and T and I will get into this a little more on Lunchtime Live tomorrow, but Dallas at Detroit. Dallas, as T mentioned, to his credit last week, playing as good as anybody right now, and they're hot, and they got something, and they were able to get Kansas City. Indy and Jacksonville, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, Chicago and Detroit. Those are 3 other massive games, along with Houston, Kansas City on Sunday night, and Philadelphia and the Chargers on Monday. We've got a loaded freaking weekend as far as the NFL schedules. Real quick, let's go through Indy at Jacksonville. Indy's got a guy playing with a broken freaking leg, if I could channel my inner Kurt Angle here, and they're struggling. And when we talk about the stretch for the Colts down the stretch here, is they lost the game to Houston. They have another game against Houston. They have 2 with Jacksonville, including this weekend. And then, oh, by the way, their other 2 games in their final 5 are San Francisco and Seattle. I posed the question, so I'll start with T first here. You give me a pick at the end of this one, T, but Indy and Jacksonville, there's a scenario I could very much see playing out in my head. I don't think it's going to happen, but Indy is in a position where they might not win another game for the rest of the season with what they have left. Indy and Jacksonville, what do you think? Because I'm going with the hot hand, which is not the Colts, and reluctantly, as much as I hate to do this, I've got the Jaguars to cover the number on Sunday.
I mean, the injury to Danny Dimes is coming at the worst time. It's just they're going to have to win this game with Jonathan Taylor. It has to happen. But I love what Jacksonville is doing right now, and Jacksonville has not lost this game to Indianapolis since 2014. I'm taking the Jaguars.
Why I started with you, Vegas Mac. Indy against your Jaguars. It's your Colts against your Jaguars. What are you to do this weekend?
Well, if that's the case, then I said I would. They're still on my banned list, so I can't vote for the Jaguars in that case. That's for sure. I mean, here's the thing. We talked about it a lot. We said this is the part that Indy did what they needed to do. The first half part of their season was a lesser schedule, and they took advantage of that. Okay. Now the last couple weeks it hasn't been as good. So this is the week. If you're right, I think if you kind of look at their schedule the next couple of weeks, if they don't win this week, I think more and more pressure starts getting put on them because you have some teams that are really, really hot right on their heels. So I think this is a pivotal week for them. I think this is a week they figure it out. It's not like they're getting blown out. I mean, both of their games have been that they lost. All three of them, the last three have been, one score games. So they're right there. I think they figure it out this week and go to Jacksonville and win this game.
Steelers at the Ravens this weekend in the battle for the top of the AFC North, but maybe Cincinnati's still in the mix here because they actually are, believe it or not. This is always an interesting one. Baltimore 6-point favorites as of right now. Over under at 42.5. The 6-6 Steelers, the 6-6 Ravens. I think we might be looking at a scenario where 9-8 wins the AFC North. What the hell are we actually talking about here? I'm going to go to T first because I'm going to set up a scenario when T is done for Vegas Mac because I just have to, and it's for all of your enjoyment out there. So sit down and get comfortable. I think right now, I don't know how much I trust either one of these teams. I am going to play this game under because I think that is my safest bet in this game. Mm-hmm. Mark Andrews, 3-year extension with the Ravens today. T, what are your thoughts? Steelers, Ravens, and then let me know when you're done so I can set this up for Vegas Mac to run with.
It's very interesting because Pittsburgh has won 7 out of the last 10, but the under is covered 9 out of the last 10 times. So I think your under bet is great here. What was the line on it? 5.5?
It's 6 right now, according to what the one I'm looking at.
I'm just looking at that gold and black sweatshirt in the middle there, and I'm wondering how anybody can trust anybody on that team right now. But the numbers don't lie. I'm taking the Steelers with the points.
I think that's, from a betting standpoint, a very safe place to go. Now, Vegas Mac Renegade is a staple of Steelers home games. It has been for a long time. And this past weekend, Renegade was booed, and Fire Tomlin chants reigned throughout Acrisure Stadium. And when I look at 3 games specifically this year, Mac, they tell me a story when it comes to the Steelers that I thought I would never read. And that's the game that they played against the Seahawks. That's the game that they played against the Packers. And that's the game that they played this past weekend against the Bills. What's the common denominator there? All 3 of those were home games for the Steelers. All three of those were home games in which the Steelers got their asses handed to them for the entire second half by all three of those teams I mentioned. If we're booing Renegade and chanting Fire Tomlin, what has happened in the Steel City?
I can tell you what hasn't happened in the Steel City, but we'll go in another direction. I mean, have you ever seen such a firestorm of former players basically calling out the head coach? I've never seen this, and I think one of Mike Tomlin's biggest supporters has been Ben Roethlisberger. They went through a lot together, but even Roethlisberger has now come out and say, and I think this is kind of the scenario. I think at a certain time, the message isn't getting through, and I think that's where we are with this. I mean, my lifetime, I've only seen 3 head coaches in the Steelers history. I mean, that's unprecedented. That doesn't happen. It's nothing against Mike Tomlin. I just think they need a new voice. And you're hearing it from former players. You're hearing it from players that are playing right now. You're hearing it from fans. You're hearing it from it's overwhelming. It's not a good scenario. It's not a good situation. And when your home stadium has more away fans than home fans, and you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's different when you're the Arizona Cardinals, because that happens to the Cardinals all the time and teams like that. But that doesn't happen in Pittsburgh. You don't get more Green Bay fans and Bills fans in Pittsburgh than Steelers fans. That just doesn't, because one thing they say it every time, when the Steelers travel very, very well. There's Steelers fans everywhere. They're I would go on to say they're probably, from a traveling standpoint, you get more fans of Steelers than any other team. There's something that's broken in this with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it starts at the top. And again, it's not a slight against Mike Tomlin. Everyone's like, well, if they get rid of him, he's going to get hired right away. Good, excellent, because whoever gets him is going to get a really good coach. But his time in Pittsburgh, I think, is done. This is a ship that's sunk. I don't know that the Steelers will win another game the rest of the year, because their defense hasn't shown up for weeks now. I mean, look, they've given up 26, 31, 12, the Bengals. But other than that, it's 30 points every single time. The problem is, from an offensive standpoint, they don't do anything. And I saw the greatest thing. Steelers made a signing today, right? They picked up a receiver, correct? Yeah. All right. Here's what I heard. I don't think he's going to have a hard time learning the 6 running plays and the 6 passing plays that the Steelers run.
Yeah, he also won't have a hard time understanding what the Steelers do on defense, because according to what we've heard from other players, it's the same damn thing they've been doing for a long time. All right, real quick here. We've got 2 primetime games to end this weekend, this week 14, and that's Sunday Night Football, Texans and Chiefs. Monday night, the Eagles in Los Angeles to take on the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. This is my question. I'll give each of you a chance to answer it in a couple minutes here, because we're running a little long tonight. Which team out of those 4 teams needs the win the most this weekend? Because these are 4 teams in 4 very interesting situations and 4 very tough situations as far as playoffs go. I'll get us started. I think it's Philadelphia. And here's the simple reason why. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, when we all just kind of wrote them off because of what happened prior to that. And they proved us all wrong, and they won the Super Bowl. I watched them get their asses handed to them on the ground by TJ's Chicago Bears on Black Friday. They ran a hole through the Eagles defense. And I think Philadelphia has to have that game on Monday for their own just mental warfare. They're going on the road. We hear it all the time. It's different in the NFL because you don't have long multi-day, multi-week road trips like other sports where, hey, going to the Anchor Bar and getting blasted after getting blasted by the Sabres is what fixes your team. Philadelphia is on the road. They're out west. I think Philadelphia, whether they want to admit it or not, there's enough guys on that Philadelphia team that were there 2 years ago when they started out like a house on fire and they came crashing and burning down. And heartburn for Philly fans was that of post Geno's, Pat's, or Tony Luke's, wherever you go for a cheesesteak. It's coming and it's happening. And it's happening right now. And you saw that with the home crowd's reaction on Friday. Not that Philadelphia fans always have sensible reactions to things that they see on the field, like Santa Claus. I think this Philadelphia team feels the walls closing in around them, whether they're going to admit it or not. And they're going, shit, it's happening again. And they absolutely have to have Monday night's game. So for me, the team that has to have it is Philly. Mac, why don't you tell me who has to have the win out of those 4 teams of this weekend's primetime games?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. The Miami Dolphins play the New York Jets. If the Miami Dolphins beat the New York Jets and Kansas City loses, they will have the same record. Damn it, Kansas City needs that game. That's
I was
how I'm
wondering where the hell you were going to go. Bravo to you to get us there, but
think about that. A win by Miami, a loss by Kansas City, both will be 6 and 7. And you know what do we think about Miami as a football team? 6,
they're
7,
hot, baby.
Yeah, but I mean, really? I mean, that's where we are. I mean, it's got to be Kansas City. Philly can lose and still move on. Kansas City needs to win. That's all there is to it. Because Miami the week after that plays Pittsburgh. They could pass the Chiefs. It's got to be Kansas City.
Pass the Chiefs sounds like a weird game I played on the playground as a youngin. T, you have the same team. Why, for you, does Kansas City have to have this?
I think it's simple. The playoffs for the Chiefs start on Sunday. They just do. They're 2 games behind Denver already. They're 2 games behind the Chargers. They're 4 games behind Denver. They need to win out, or they're not going to go anywhere. And so the playoffs for them start on Sunday. They have to win against Houston. If they don't, they're done.
Yeah, I think you're dead on there. All right, let's go in to the segment, for those of you that are new, that we call Liquid Locks. And it's not best bets. We don't call it best bets because, listen, our locks are as solid as freaking water. And that leads to leakage at times. But every week we try and give you our favorite bets. Is our Liquid Lock segment. We named it for Vegas Mac's flowing locks that he has. So he always goes last in the segment because a lot of the time we have no idea what the hell goes into his picks. But he gets us there. So I'm going to get us started with my Liquid Lock for the week. Number 1, first half, Georgia-Bama SEC title game. I like that game over. We saw these 2 teams play at the end of September, 24-21. The game was 24-14 at halftime. If you're a math wizard, that means we saw 7 points in the second half. Both of these teams had their opportunities to make hay and grab the game in the second half, and they didn't. I think Georgia goes into this game, and you might hear this tomorrow on the show, but Georgia goes into this game knowing that Alabama is their kryptonite. I think based on the first game we saw, and based on Georgia having the focus on Alabama here, we should have had the first game over. This one goes over. This total is at 47.5, so we're over there. Second, I'm going to the first half of Seattle's game this weekend for the Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, ladies and gentlemen, are the best team in the NFL this season against the spread at 9-3. They're on the road to the NFL's literal definition of Jekyll and Hyde, the Atlanta Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, for as low as $29. Definitely not the price you can get into the game that's being played the day before at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But not only are the Seahawks the most profitable team against the spread, they are also a very, very damn good team in the first half. Their defense takes you out of everything that you want, and they have been a first half over king this year just on their own, as well as having that defense. The first half spread is 3.5. I am definitely taking Seattle to be up by more than 4 points at halftime. So there's my 253 if you wanted to put them together, as we say on the show all the time. Play them straight, play them together. That's up to you. TJ, what do you got in your liquid locks for the week?
First, I'm going to Jura World, BYU and Texas Tech. I think this game goes over 49.5. I know Texas Tech's defense is pretty good, but I'm thinking that BYU is going to come into this game rejuvenated. I love Bear Bachmeier, and to think that he is just a freshman. Oh, I think you know why Kalani Sitake is staying in Provo, because those are three words that I really enjoy: Bachmeier, Sitake, and Provo. So I'm taking that over. And because the god dang inevitable is going to happen, I know this. I've resigned myself to the fate. I spent the night of Black Friday consuming many alcoholic beverages in a depressive state. Bears plus 6.5.
Yes, we got him finally. We got him there. You do realize you have to wear that video or that jersey in every video and show until they are eliminated, right?
Which I'm hopeful will only be like a week.
Man, are you going to be the biggest 49er fan the second to last week of the year when those two play on Sunday Night Football? Without further ado, Vegas Mac, the Liquid Lock stage created for you, essentially kind of created by you. It is all yours right now.
Well, I've had themes the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to stay with the theme. And, outside of my house, we have ravens. And just so you know, these are big friggin' birds. These are not little birds. These are like baby bears. I mean, they are huge, but I'm not going to touch that game, but I'm staying with the birds. I'm taking Seattle minus 7.5 against the Falcons. So Birds of Prey versus Birds of Prey in that one. And then I'm taking the Rams, who are not birds, although sometimes you want to give them the bird. Minus 7.5 against the Cardinals, who are birds, but they're more like doves than anything else. Maybe they need a name change. I don't think they should be the Cardinals anymore. I think we should call them the Doves. Doves are nice. They don't hurt anybody. So I got the Rams 7.5 over the Doves.
Oh my God. I can't begin to tell you the party I would throw if the Cardinals knocked off the Rams this weekend. Because as I laid the scenario out yesterday, remember, the 49ers are off this week. There is a scenario that could finagle its way out, that the 49ers are in first place in the NFC, not being on the field on Sunday, which is great because one thing I will guarantee you this: you will not see the blue injury tent pop up on the 49ers sideline this weekend. That is Mike Arana show guarantee. T, any final words before tomorrow's lunchtime live where we just throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see what sticks?
In response to Mac, I can't wait to hear what it sounds like when doves cry.
Oh, well done, this guy. Mac, any final words for you on this Wednesday night?
If you will allow me, I have two, because one is important and one I just have to get. Good thing the Yankees are taking care of business in the offseason. They have reinstated their hair policy because that's friggin' important. So way to go, Hal Steinbrenner. Now that Devin Williams is gone, you can no longer have facial hair. I'm sure that'll make a huge difference in the Yankees, performance. And T, I know you missed it yesterday, but our Ticket Tuesday, I got one for you. You ready? The three of us are going to go on Sunday. Black Market, I got a special. It's down a little bit. Tickets, North Florida. I got them through the Black Gonzaga market. They're low now, just $417 per ticket through the Gonzaga Black Market ticket. It's just, yes, $417. You need more than that. It's the black market of Gonzaga.
Which we told you last night is zagsrule.com is where you find Gonzaga black market tickets. I should have probably checked that before I threw that site out, because who knows what's on that site, because I'm sure it's out there. That being said, we should probably get the hell up on out of here before I get us in some real legal trouble. So TJ and I tomorrow on Lunchtime Live, no show on Friday. Plenty of stuff going on. Vegas Mac, of course, holding up the prototypical Boise State beanie just so he doesn't have to sleep on the couch tonight. Good luck to you, sir, I say. TJ, I will talk to you tomorrow. Mac, we will talk on these spaces, these times. We've got a lot of new fun stuff coming on. So for everybody behind the scenes and for the three jamokes you see on your screen, you know the drill. Lunchtime Live tomorrow, 11:30 on the West Coast, 2:30 on the East Coast. We out.